Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're back here with another vid, and this is another one where I'm watching some old Draft League games that I played in. The theme of this one, I don't know if this will be too much longer of like a series or if this will just be a whatever. These are four of just my favorite Draft League games that I've ever played in. So there's not I'm not going to have getting tossed around in this because I wouldn't consider games that I get beat to be my favorites, but these are all four games that were really meaningful to me, or just carry a lot of just carry some funny memories. So this first one I played in August of 2016. And you might be able to recognize this if you go way back, but this is from a league called the OBL. I don't remember what the OBL stands for. This was a time before I started using Discord, and like Discord was a thing that people used. I don't remember much else about this league, but I just remember I got my friend Eric and I to get into this league. It was really just a casual league. I was traveling around Europe, I remember, when we were drafting for this league, and I basically just told Eric my entire draft plan, and I got every single mon. But because I wasn't there, this one guy just got super mad at me, and he got so angry at me because I said something that set him off. He just up and left the league and never spoke to anyone there again. But yeah, this was a league to just completely mess around in, and this is the Fly Competitively game. So as you'll see, I just start by leading with Ments, and the game just ends from there. So if you've ever seen like the Fly Competitively meme going around in like my channel or with people that know me, this is where it all started, was running this set against a guy that was just looking to have fun more than he was looking to be a serious Draft League competitor. And of course, me being the super competitive try hard, I just made fun of it mercilessly in this video, or just in this I made like a little video montage edit thing for this. But yeah, I sub Fly DD Roost Ments, and it just 6-0s because he doesn't have a flying resist and he doesn't know how to deal with it. And yeah, this is where that meme came from, and it's just fun to look back on. The rest of the game is not interesting at all. I mean, I just click fly like 1,000 times and everything dies. There's nothing else to say about this. It's just Fly competitive. Wait, where is it? I just have to find that line. Yep, there it is. There's the thing. The most famous. Yeah, it's just a classic. Nothing more to say about this one. I don't think this league fizzled out. And that was about it. It was a fun little thing for a short period of my life. Next up, these next three games are all of a lot more prominence. This was my first league championship game. This was I think it was GPC Season 5. I'm just going to switch sides, yeah. And yeah, this was versus Shoddy, who for a lot of Draft League, he was really my rival and a really close friend of mine. Now goes by, I'm forgetting. Shoddy now goes by Jasmine, and is a girl, and she seems to be doing great. But anyways, there were some cool things like that weakness policy Keldeo, and then I brought Petal Blizzard. We still kind of talk about that, and but the Keldeo was meant to try and beat my Mega Venusaur 1v1. But anyways, with this game, it was funny. In playoffs, this was the second consecutive pup mill tank that I had played, which for some reason was kind of a threat to my team since it outsped my Lucario and just was able to beat up on my defensive mons. Last time that a mill tank has been mildly threatening in a game. But anyways, I brought this really, yeah, I brought, he was expecting for me to bring just all of my broken mons, but instead I brought in a Scavalier, and it was choice banded, and he didn't bring a switch into it, so that was able to just get me off on the right foot. And from there, I was just able to rely on my team building to whittle down his mons, and then once everything got weak enough, then I had dual priority Lucario in the back, which just swept his team. And this is when, like, this was right as Gen 6 was ending. This was the very last league that well, actually that's not true, but the last league that really mattered that happened in Gen 6 for me. There was also another one that I was a fill-in coach that went into the first couple of months of, like, the first month of Gen 7, but that doesn't matter. I don't remember what it was called. Anyways, so this is where the Lucario comes in and everything proceeds to die. I lament Lucario in Gen 7. It got so much worse, I felt, because it just lost its prominence. And also don't take Lucario in the third round of a draft. And yeah, this was the start of, this was the first championship I won after spending like a year and a half trying really hard and making playoffs a bunch and never being able to do it. And yeah, I was against a really good friend of mine, and it was just a meaningful one for me. That was the first of, I think, like 4 league championships, but definitely this was the most meaningful for me. And after a while, like, it sounds terrible, but just winning, it didn't really mean as much in, like, taking chips away. But this first one was definitely a special one, especially when you get to play, like, your rival. So the next one we're going to watch is another league championship game, and this one is against Uzi Gunner, who's a guy I've known since the beginning of my GPC days. And this was in the NPCC, which was a slightly less competitive league than the GPC and a much less competitive league than the NPL, which was the league where I faced my mortality multiple times. Anyways, the cool thing about why this is a meaningful game to me is, once again, I'm playing a guy that I'm pretty close with. He also had a Maguzigeamer, which was the bane of my existence at this point in my draft career. I'd gotten 6-0'd by Maddie's Maguzigeamer in the NPL, and this was another demon that another big obstacle that I felt like I needed to overcome. And I just love this prep. It always sticks out in my mind that I brought a Choice Scarf, T-Spikes, Frogadier, and Stunfisk as 2 vital aspects of a championship winning team. And that's just, it kind of highlights why I love the Draft League format, is because you can bring a Frogadier and a Stunfisk on the same field as, like, Tapu Koko and Skarmory, and they can be just as valuable in the roles that they play, which you can't do that in standard play, which is something that I love about Draft League. I've always been a ladder scrub. I just have not ever been able to find much ladder success. I've gotten okay at, like, Gen 6 UU and NU at various times, but it just never had the thrill that Draft League had for me, where I felt like I was pretty good, and that it was all about the preparation and being able to build cool teams, which on the ladder you can be creative on the ladder for sure, but it's much more restrictive, where kind of just sky's the limit for Draft League. So we see here the heat set of the day, which was an Infestation Stunfisk, which paired with Infestation Protect, which paired with the T-Spike that my Frogadier laid up at the beginning, which allowed me to dismantle this Alomomola Tangrowth core, which would then allow my I had like Scarf, Zygarde, Dog, and Tapu Koko to just win this game. So this is another one that just really shows off why Draft League is fun for me. And after taking 2 years off, I'm having fun again, which is really cool. I think that the NPL is a really tough environment because everyone was just so competitive, and it was a bunch of egos grinding up against each other, and me having a big ego definitely at that time. I'm trying to move away from that, but it was just hard, and it was very taxing, especially when I'd have like back-to-back losing seasons and all of that. But yeah, coming back and being able to play in leagues that are difficult, that challenge me, but also aren't, you're not playing the Zazos and Matty Brawlocks and Gypsy Kings all the time. It makes it feel fun again, and that just reminds me of that. And I think that's how it should be. It shouldn't be something that's so overly serious that if you lose a game, you're just steamed for days on end and you're going on online tirades. And I know I've done all of that before. So it's been really cool to come back. I've enjoyed it so far, and the response I've gotten and how people have welcomed me back and not kind of like held me being a jerk in the past against me has been really awesome. And just kind of cap that off with one last game that's just super memorable. I think this is probably one of the best games that I've ever played against another really, really close friend, against Owen, who I believe is still playing around, though I haven't seen him. He's kind of in the shadows right now. And the cool thing with Owen is that he is the guy that I have known in the competitive Pokemon community the longest. This goes way before Draft League. This goes back to playing in X and Y before PokeGen was a thing, when we were both in the Pimp Night Twitch chat. Typically not too often when he was streaming, but there was this community that would just hang out in Pimp Night's Twitch chat and just hang out, because this was before XYNU was an official tier, and people like us were just starving to play NU because OU was never something that really interested me that much. I love the creative aspect to playing NU. I remember watching like Hayden back in the day, and he just always bring these crazy fun sets, and I really wanted to do that. And having like an unofficial NU place to play at that Pimp Night Twitch channel was just a really cool and special thing. That's kind of the first step that bridged me over to the league format, and I think is a big reason why I like both of those, is being able to be creative and non-standardized. And Owen was a guy that was hanging out in that server. There's some really old videos on this YouTube channel of me playing against him, and I think that's just super rad. And he's an excellent player, one of the best Draft League players that I've come in contact with, and definitely someone who was, whenever we played, he was definitely one of my equals. And this was the semifinals match of the Brawl for All tournament, and we were just both going ham, taking names, and this was just a absolutely excellent game. I'm not going to show off the finals of this because it's just less memorable for me, but this game was just so cool. I made so many hard reads. I was like just not afraid with my Skarmory. I got up rocks and like stayed in on both the Thunderous T and the Marowak. And then he finally just like gets it that I don't care about this Skarmory, and he Flare Blitz me. I also had 0 switch-ins to that Marowak because I was afraid he'd have Ice Punch, which would then kill my Hydreigon. But yeah, this was just a wonderful game. It was back and forth. He had this Klefki offense team, and I have this really fat team. This was one of the more offensive variants of this draft that I brought. I also had Clefable and Gastrodon on my roster, and this team was just ridiculous. I love this team. It would be a really fun one to recreate. So anyways, I bring some text. I've got the Seed Bomb for the CM Diancie, and then this Mew is just a good old... I even forget what this set was. I know I brought Super Fang a ton on Mew, because Super Fang Mew is just like the GOAT set. That's always kind of the problem I've had with Mew, is that there's so much pressure and potential to run all these sets, but just running like Taunt Super Fang is always the best option I found, no matter what league that I was in. I mean, occasionally you can bring like CM or Nasty Plot, but it was always either a bulky CM set or a bulky Taunt Super Fang, whatever. Anyways, I have Roar on this thing, because if there's any one thing that Owen loves to do, he loves to set up. So I knew he was going to have, obviously he had the Calm Mind Diancie. I figured he'd have Nasty Plot and stuff on the Azelf. Yeah, we're going to see pretty soon where what makes this game just like super fire. And another reason why I just love Draft League is that you've got your creative prep, and then you also kind of understand what your opponent could likely bring for it. And this is and then you can counteract that. And that's when you see Tailwind, Z Psychic, Volcarona to counteract the Scarf Crobat that you figured your opponent is going to bring. And there's just, yeah, you just can't get that in standard play. Like, bringing Tailwind Volcarona would just be a complete, like, 3-head move. There's no reason for you to do that. He also shows off the Z skill swap on here, which is a really cool tech. And then I have just the fattest Volk in existence, which lets me get another Tailwind up. I believe on this team, and I'm able to clean up with Volk plus Hydreigon, I believe I was also Tailwind on Hydreigon, and then the cool set that I never got to show off was, I still remember this, I don't have the import or anything, this game was about just under 3 years ago now. It was a Trick Room, like max HP, max attack, Mega Gallade. But yeah, this is probably my favorite Draft League game that I've ever played, against a really good friend who I've gone back with for a long time in a super high stakes environment. This game allowed me to clinch winning some money, and though I didn't win the tournament, I still won like 25 bucks, which was pretty fire, since I didn't have a job or anything, since I was a high school student at the time. But yeah, these are just a couple of my favorite games that I've been a part of. They bring back some good memories, and thinking about it just makes me excited to be able to play again. I'm gonna be around at least for the summer, because a big ol' Rona means that I don't have much else to do. And I think it'll be a good time. I'm excited for what the next couple of months has to offer, and I hope that you'll tune in and show your support, and yeah, hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you later. Peace out.